ADHD and trauma. People with ADHD never experience trauma, and we never address trauma. And the reason that we don't is because trauma provides us absolutely no dopamine. And when trauma happens, it's a very impactful moment, and our brain will essentially forget it. And now we have trauma that's unhealed, packed away on our back, and we don't even realize it. And that is the biggest struggle when it comes to ADHD, is when it comes to stuff like trauma, childhood trauma, mental abuse, physical abuse, all of this. Our brain, if it wasn't present, pushes it into the back of us, and next thing you know, we essentially forget it while it's still there. And how it's still there and how it presents itself now is in self-sabotaging and addiction and unhealthy coping mechanisms. And we don't realize it. We don't realize why we're self-sabotaging. We don't realize all of a sudden why we are falling into different patterns that we were, as a way of trying to medicate this, because our brain doesn't want to focus on it. But even though it doesn't want to focus on it, doesn't mean that it never happened. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It's there. It's just not being addressed. It's not being healed. And our brain is looking for ways to silence it so it can keep its search for dopamine going. And that's how an ADHD brain works. And it's something that I wish I would have known, because I struggled with this a lot in my life. And it wasn't until I found a trauma therapist that helped me sit down and work through all of my trauma and help heal all of my trauma that I really found that I could stop sabotaging my life, that I could have a good, healthy life, and that I didn't have to rely on addiction. It's amazing what happens when we address the stuff that our brain doesn't necessarily want to. And I wish I would have known, because I was diagnosed ADD at 13. I was re-diagnosed ADHD at 17. And the more that you know this, the more that you understand it, the more you can address it, heal it, and have the life that you deserve.